Hello, Weirdos. It's Thursday. I'm Sarah, and as always, I'm joined by two people who both just took a bite of food.
I'm Christopher.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And this podcast is for Weirdos.
Well, what are we talking about today?
Great question.
Jesus Christ.
So, we're going to talk about what I originally planned to talk about today.
Okay.
But we're also going to talk about a bunch of other stuff first.
Okay.
So I'm not going to... The title of this episode, like the topic in the parentheses, is not what it was when we made our list. Because our list was that this was going to be an episode about the wow signal. And then I started researching the wow signal, and I went, this is a drop in the bucket of this topic. So what we're actually going to be talking about today, like the thing that you see in parentheses after whatever insane thing we said that became the episode title, is SETI. SETI.
Yeah.
The search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Wow.
I love SETI.
Because...
That sounded sarcastic. It was not.
No,
meant to.
yeah. So when I started doing this research, I pulled up information about the wow signal and what it was and all of that kind of stuff. And it is an intriguing thing that happened, but it is truly just like a teeny tiny facet in this much larger topic. And whereas usually, like last week was aliens. I don't know why I pointed at the whiteboard, like you can see that. Last week was aliens 102, where we talked about UFOs. Usually we talk about extraterrestrial life and aliens and all of that on a very like woo kind of scale. This is going to be a very science-based episode. Because
Excellent.
SETI as a concept is based entirely in science.
Exciting.
So I'm going to say a lot of words, and
Okay.
we're going to... There is time to ask questions. I don't know if I'm going to know the answers, but I am going to start with, what do you know about the concept of SETI, as it is shortened, and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence in its long form?
So I've definitely read their name in different articles that I've read about various alien, ufological, whatever topics.
Right.
SETI is synonymous with the search for alien life.
Yeah.
Like you cannot do any sort of ufological research and not run into SETI. But I don't know necessarily in detail what they as an organization do.
We're going to talk about so much, brother.
I'm excited.
What do you
I know not.
You know not?
I know
Okay.
not. I could have told you a good gist of what your original
Of the
topic
wow
was.
signal?
Yeah, like
Fun fact, that's the end of my notes now.
Excellent.
Like, that's the thing we're
That's the
wrapping up on.
finisher.
Anyway, I know very little. I could have told you more about the wow signal than I can tell
Sorry.
you about SETI. I have heard the name, I think, at a glance.
Yeah.
The alien ufological research that I have done for this podcast, because I have not done much outside of the topics that I've chosen for this podcast, doesn't really encounter SETI.
Yeah, no. Because that's like here stuff.
Yeah. A lot of my stuff is alien adjacent.
Yeah.
Or very case specific.
Yeah.
And SETI has not necessarily been involved in the cases that I have personally discussed. So
Gotcha.
I'm excited to learn.
Y'all are going to learn so much.
I know it's going to be great because you're an amazing researcher.
Ooh.
So
Thanks. So SETI technically refers to the field of this type of research, of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The confusion is that there is also the SETI Institute, which is what is the like organization, which we'll talk about in a minute. I want to talk about the like concept of SETI first, and
Okay.
then we'll talk about the institute and then other like specific projects and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So SETI, which is short for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligences, SETI, extraterrestrial is the E and the T, is an expression that refers to the diverse efforts and scientific projects intended to detect extraterrestrial signals or any evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth. So it is looking away from here. A lot of the ufological stuff that we talk about is stuff that happened here. And so that's why like SETI often isn't involved in a lot of the stuff that we're talking about because they don't really care about UFOs. They don't know if they're like, whatever, that could be anything.
Whatever. That could be the military.
We want evidence that we can find in space that there is life somewhere
That
else.
there's something somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. So researchers use methods such as monitoring electromagnetic radiation, searching for optical signals, and investigating potential extraterrestrial artifacts for any signs of transmission from civilizations present on other planets. So we're like trying to get stuff from other planets and other regions of space. Some initiatives have also attempted to send messages to hypothetical alien civilizations, such as the Golden Record, which we'll talk about specifically in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to talk again about like the concept of SETI and then the SETI Institute and then a bunch of specific SETI projects, including the WOW signal.
Great.
Excellent.
So, modern SETI research began in the early 20th century after the advent of radio, because now we have radio. We understand what radio transmissions are like. I wonder if we can hear radio transmissions from elsewhere. Which began, we had projects like Project Ozma, which we'll talk about, the WOW signal, which we'll talk about, Breakthrough Listen, which we'll talk about, etc. Since the 1980s, international efforts have been ongoing with community-led projects such as SETI at Home and Project Argus engaging in analyzing data. So that's like people in their houses. It's like, we're going to talk about this in the Thanksgiving episode, but we watched Elio, and if you haven't watched fucking Elio, watch Elio. It's a great movie.
So
but there's like a ham radio club in that like they're probably involved in SETI. Like those kinds of people are the people who are doing SETI at home. So SETI remains a respected scientific field, but it often gets compared to conspiracy theory, UFO research, bringing unwarranted skepticism from the public despite its reliance on rigorous scientific methods and verifiable data and research. And that is where this kind of goes down a different fork of our kind of topic, because this is like truly scientific method stuff, whereas a lot of the stuff that we talk about is kind of more pseudoscience.
Yeah.
Despite decades of searching, no confirmed evidence of alien intelligence has been found yet, bringing criticism onto SETI for being overly hopeful. Critics argue that SETI is speculative and unfalsifiable, while supporters see it as a crucial step in addressing the addressing the Fermi paradox and understanding extraterrestrial technosignature. So the Fermi paradox is the paradox of like if the universe is ever expanding and life exists here and there are similar stars and similar solar systems, there has to be life out there. But if there has to be life out there, why haven't we found it yet? Like that's the paradox part of it. I will probably do a whole episode on the Fermi paradox because I believe our friend Lawrence asked us to do it. Somebody has asked us to do the Fermi paradox.
Somebody has asked us.
And it's
I think
on my
it was
list.
Lawrence, yeah.
I think it was Lawrence. It's very scientific, so it seems like something that Lawrence would ask for. And it is on my list. And I was going to talk about it in this. My notes are so long, I don't have time to talk about it at depth.
Excellent.
So now we're going to talk about the SETI Institute. So the Institute is a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Hell yeah.
That was incorporated in 1984, and it is in California. Their mission is to explore, understand, and explain the origin and nature of life in the universe, and to use this knowledge to inspire and guide present and future generations, sharing knowledge with the public, the press, and the government. So they're like, we want to learn about this, we want to teach people about it, and we want everyone to know. SETI stands for, again, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So the Institute consists of 3 primary centers. We will talk about each center and like what their main jobs are in depth.
Okay.
So it's the Carl Sagan Center, the Center for Education, and the Center for Public Outreach. But SETI scientists are involved in space missions, including the New Horizons missions toward Pluto, the Cassini mission previously in orbit around Saturn, the Mars rover Opportunity and Curiosity missions, the Kepler mission, and the TESS mission. They also cooperate with NASA in the CAMS Meteor Tracking Network. So, like, the SETI Institute is intrinsically involved in a lot of science stuff while not being funded by the government.
Mm-hmm.
They are a privately funded organization, mostly through donations.
Iconic.
Because they're a 501c3. So the Carl Sagan Center is named in honor of Carl Sagan, who is the former trustee of the Institute. He was an astronomer, a prolific author, and the host of the original Cosmos television series. The Carl Sagan Center is home to over 80 scientists and researchers organized
Wow.
around 6 research thrusts: astronomy and astrophysics, exoplanets, planetary exploration, climate and geoscience, astrobiology, and SETI. So
Astrobiology.
SETI is only technically one facet of what this specific center does. It's part of the SETI Institute, but they're doing all kinds of space research,
Whoa.
not just searching for extraterrestrial intelligence. They are guided by the astrobiology roadmap charted by the Drake equation. The scientists at the Sagan Center endeavor to understand the nature and proliferation of life in the universe and the transitions from physics to chemistry, chemistry to biology, and biology to philosophy.
Oh, amazing.
Like this, many times during my notes, I was like, I'm gonna fucking cry. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Most of the research undertaken there is funded by grants from NASA. So this one is given. They apply for grants and they get grants from NASA. While SETI endeavors are funded exclusively by private philanthropy.
That makes
so,
sense.
So
Okay.
like their regular space stuff, they get NASA grants for. Searching for extraterrestrial life, private philanthropy.
Regular space, government.
Yeah.
Freaky shit.
And it is grants, so it's not like NASA is just giving them the money. They're having to apply for it. The
They're
institute,
writing sick essays.
They're writing awesome grant. What are they called?
requests.
Grant requests. Thank you. My brain was like grant reports. The Institute's SETI researchers use both radio and optical telescope systems to search for deliberate signals from technologically advanced extraterrestrial civilization. That's kind of the basis of most of this.
Yeah.
This specific center employs over 100 researchers that study all aspects of the search for life, its origins, the environment in which life develops, and its ultimate fate,
Bum, bum.
which is intense. So now we have the Center for Education. This has a bit that Mackenzie will really like in about 2 paragraphs, so bear with me. The Center for Education promotes STEM education through NASA and NSF-funded programs aimed at teaching and inspiring children, young adults, and educators in the physical sciences with emphasis on astronomy and astrobiology.
Hell yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. The part you're going to love is still a whole paragraph away.
That's
so
okay. I'm just happy.
Yeah, it's great. I love that this is like, oh, there are people out there like trying to find aliens, but also like the youth. Fund education in the youth. The Airborne Astronomy Ambassadors Program brings research to American middle and high school teachers. Selected science educators take a crash course in astronomy and experience 2 sorties on SOFIA, Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy, modified 747 aircraft operated by NASA and the German Space Agency. So this is another little program that they have. It's like, come learn about astronomy so you can teach it to your kids.
That's cool.
That's so amazing.
In 2016, the Institute received a 5-year grant from NASA for an Institute-conceived STEM program for the Girl Scouts of the USA.
Yeah!
In partnership with the University of Arizona, the Girl Scouts of Northern California, and the Girl Scouts of the USA, the SETI Institute launched Reaching for the Stars, NASA Science for Girl Scouts.
I've heard of this program.
Yeah. This will develop a new series of merit badges based on, it already did this, on STEM curriculum for girls age 5 to 18.
Interesting that they call it merit badges because that's not.
This was written by somebody who was not in the Girl Scouts.
I was like-
This was written by a Boy Scout.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's written by somebody who thinks of all scouting as one thing, which is
fine.
I am of the opinion that all scouting is good scouting, regardless of what scouting you're involved in. I think Girl Scouts is wonderful for youth girls, but also Scouts BSA, if that is what is available to you, and that is what is best for your family. A girl troop in the Boy Scout program is just as good leadership wise. I was in both programs in different ways, so
yeah.
that's an amazing program and an amazing opportunity. And I think I heard about the press release for that because that would have been when I was graduating from high school.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been something
You could have
available
done.
to
Yeah.
me, but I think I did hear about it because at the time I had just finished my term
Yeah.
as a national delegate for Girl Scouts of Central Texas.
And they should have finished because the grant term would have been over in 2021.
So it would have been while I was in college.
So it would have been while you were in college. But it should be completed and in process and accessible now because
Yeah.
the funding of building the program has completed. So the SETI Institute also operates a summer internship program for college students funded by the National Science Foundation. Research Experience for Undergraduates, REU, is an 8-week summer internship that pairs students with institute mentors and scientists.
I love that.
So if you have a college student that you know who's interested in astronomy, astrobiology, any of those kinds of like space fields, maybe look into getting them an internship program through SETI. Like it is available.
God, I love it. Bless you.
Okay, one more
I've
about
passed
the
the
Center for
sneezies.
Center for Education, bringing the excitement of NASA science to the nation's community colleges. That is the name of the program.
Oh, I like that.
NASA Community College Network is a newly funded, as of 2021, initiative to bring NASA subject matter experts, research findings, and science resources into the nation's community college system. So it's trying to make it more accessible for those students who are not going to university, they're going to community college. And this is fields that everyone should have access to.
Yeah.
And it's very, very exciting that is a very new program that
That's
they've
really
recently
fun.
started. So then the last center at the SETI Institute is the Center for Public Outreach, which does exactly what it says in the title. They are the center that brings the work to the public. And they have a weekly lecture series called SETI Talks. It produced the national radio show and podcast Big Picture Science until January of 2025. The program continues to be co-hosted by the Institute's senior astronomer Seth Shostak and its executive producer, journalist Molly Bentley. The award-winning general science program engages the public with modern science research through lively and intelligent storytelling and interviews with leading authors, educators, and researchers in wide-ranging disciplines.
Cool.
I know you were telling me that I was going to be excited because of the bit about the Girl Scouts. Really, you could have just said, look, Mackenzie, it's your entire...
Yeah.
It's everything you wanted to do.
Education and public outreach.
It's everything you wanted to do. It's the whole thing you got a degree for in college, Mackenzie.
So
Look, you're going to be excited.
The Institute's weekly series, SETI Talks, is an in-depth 1-hour lecture featuring leading researchers from around the world in astronomy, astrophysics, aerospace technology, astrobiology, machine learning, and more. Lectures are free of charge, open to the public, and presented at Microsoft's Silicon Valley campus in Mountain View, California. All SETI Talks are videotaped and archived on YouTube. Over 350 lectures are available online and indexed on the Institute's website.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I know what
I got
Chris's
it.
next.
They're all
was
available
like-
for
Vacation.
free.
I was like, I got upset for a second whenever you were like, it's at this specific location. I was
Nope.
like, ah.
No, that's if you want to go watch them in person.
Right.
But you can watch them all on YouTube. Now we're going to talk about, so we're done with the SETI Institute. We're moving on to specific programs and projects that are invested in doing this kind of research. So we're going to talk about the Voyager Golden Records. So the Voyager Golden Records are 2 identical phonograph records. One of each was included aboard the 2 Voyager spacecraft launched in 1977. The records contain sounds and data to reconstruct raster scan images selected to portray the diversity of life and culture on Earth and are intended for any intelligent extraterrestrial life form who may find them. These records are now a time capsule because they were launched in 1977.
Yeah.
This is why Sarah was freaking out last night.
Yes, like so again, we watched Elio last night and I was losing my fucking mind.
Sarah's like losing it, and Chris and I are like, I don't understand.
Like, you'll find out tomorrow. Neither Voyager spacecraft was sent towards a specific star. We just kind of launched them in a direction and said, go. Voyager 1 will pass within 1.6 light years distance of the star Gliese 445, currently in the constellation Camello Pardalis, in about 40,000 years.
Cool.
Carl Sagan noted that the spacecraft will be encountered and the record played only if there are advanced spacefaring civilizations in interstellar space. But the launching of this bottle into the cosmic ocean says something very hopeful about life on our planet.
Yeah.
And that, again, made me fucking cry when I was doing my notes. The hope that, like, specifically Carl Sagan and his peers had in that era of, like, doing this research really is like, wow, humans. Wow.
You know, we're all just hungry to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
We're hungry to be friends with others.
We want to connect. So the contents of the record were selected for NASA by a committee chaired by Carl Sagan of Cornell University. The selection of content for the record took almost a year.
Wow.
Because they wanted exactly the right thing.
Sure.
Sagan and his associates assembled 116 images, one of which was used for calibration, and a variety of natural sounds, such as those made by surf, wind, thunder, and animals, including whale song and bird song. To this, they added audio content to represent humanity, spoken greetings in 55 ancient and modern languages, including a spoken greeting in English by the UN Secretary General Kurt Waldheim and a greeting by Carl Sagan's 6-year-old son, Nick. We're going to play that at the end of this paragraph. Other human sounds like footsteps and laughter, the inspirational message per aspera ad astra in Morse code, and musical selections from different cultures and eras. The record also includes a printed message from the then president, Jimmy Carter. May he rest in peace. So, this is Carl Sagan's 6-year-old son saying,
"Hello from the children of planet Earth."
And that is in space forever now.
I'm not going to cry.
You can, it's okay.
Nope.
And that I also freaked out about last night because that's also an LEO.
Yeah.
So,
Like a lot.
yeah. So, I think that the things that they chose to include are so interesting because it's like we have 55 different languages. We have a greeting from the UN Secretary General and a child.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter. Per aspera ad astra, which means to the stars through hardship, which became the slogan of Starfleet in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It did not used to be. It used to be...
This is why you had to cut Star Trek out of your notes.
Oh, no, I had to cut Star Trek out of my notes because the entire Star Trek, the original motion picture, is about a Voyager rocket. Like, the thing that they find, Voyager, is they assumed because it was made shortly after they had shot off the 2 Voyagers, they assumed they were going to send more. So it's Voyager 7 or 8 got turned into this thing, and it was trying to come home to find the maker.
Oh.
Like, it had become intelligent, and at the center of its brain was a Voyager.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it was called Voyager because some of the letters had come off. Anyway, I had a whole thing that I was like, I can't tell the plot of this movie like in depth. Anyway, and also like whale song in the voyage home. Anyway, okay, moving on.
Before Sarah cries more.
And also before I just like go down a Star Trek rabbit hole that doesn't need to be gone off on. So the images that were included are kind of all encompassing. The first several are scientific, like mathematical equations, the solar system, DNA, human anatomy, that kind of stuff. But we also included pictures of animals and insects and plants and landscapes. And then we also included pictures of food and architecture and a bunch of just people doing stuff in their day-to-day lives. And they all have some sort of caption telling you what's going on in the picture. So it's not just like a vague picture. It's like, this is what this is.
Yeah.
So that is fun. And then the musical selection, because we had all the sounds of like language and natural noises and that kind of stuff. But we also have music that they decided to include. And they included things like Bach and Mozart and Beethoven and Stravinsky, but they also included Chuck Berry and Laurie Spiegel, Azerbaijani folk music.
You know what they didn't include? Darude Sandstorm.
They didn't include Darude by Sandstorm, and honestly,
Other
Darude
way
by
around.
Sandstorm by Darude, and honestly, that's why we haven't heard back yet.
Yep.
That's a callback. The aliens haven't heard Darude sandstorm.
Yep.
I will say,
I was thinking the same thing.
yeah, that's why we haven't heard back from the Voyager records. Send another one.
Update it.
Update it.
Include Sandstorm by Darude, and we'll hear back from Alien Space Rave.
Alien Space
Space
Rave.
Rave.
It's back. Do you want to know? So I fell in love with Carl Sagan because of this quote. So they included Chuck Berry's "Johnny Be Good" as like one of the songs on here,
Okay.
which was a super controversial take because one of the other people on the team was like, rock music is super adolescent, and Carl Sagan said there are a lot of adolescents on this planet.
Hell yeah, brother.
And it's like, hell yeah, I love that guy. So that is the Voyager Golden Records. It is like this message of hope that humanity made, shot out into space, and we hope somebody will hear. And fun fact, it's the entire plot of Elio.
Yep.
Anyway, next we have Project Ozma,
Okay.
Ooh.
which is a whole other thing. This was a SETI research project experiment started in 1960 by another Cornell University astronomer, Frank Drake, at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, Green Bank at Green Bank, West Virginia.
Wow.
The object of the experiment was to search for signals of life in distant planetary systems through interstellar radio waves. The project was named after Princess Ozma, ruler of the fictional land of Oz, inspired by Frank L. Baum's supposed communication with Oz by radio to learn of the events in the books taking place after the Emerald City of Oz. That's like the in-universe lore of how Frank L. Baum got the stories.
Sure.
The research was publicized in articles in the popular media of the time, such as Time magazine, and was described as the first modern SETI experiment, which is why I've chosen to include it. Because it's from 1960.
1960.
Yeah, so it's 17 years before Voyager.
Okay.
I did not put these in, like, timeline order. I kind of put them in, like, knownness order.
Okay.
Like, pretty much everyone knows about the Voyager records.
Right.
And then basically everything else you
So-
don't know about unless you know about this stuff.
We're going to get more and more obscure as we go forward.
Well, we're ending with a bang because we're ending with the wow
Well, yeah.
signal. But yes, we're getting more and more, not necessarily obscure, but just like less known if you're not in this
Okay.
kind of thing. So Drake used a radio telescope with a diameter of 85 feet to examine the stars Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani near the 1,420 megahertz marker frequency, which is like, that's the area where they're like, it's space stuff if it comes through at that frequency level. Beep, boop, bop.
Yeah.
Both are nearby to us, sun-like stars, so these two stars, Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani, that then seemed reasonably likely to have inhabited planets. So
Okay.
at the time, we were like, those are close enough. They're really similar to our sun. Let's check. A 400 kilohertz band was scanned around the marker frequency, so around that 1,420 megahertz frequency, using a single channel receiver with a bandwidth of 100 hertz. We're going to talk a lot about radio stuff. The information was stored on tape for offline analysis. Some 150 hours of intermittent observation during a 4-month period detected no recognizable signals.
Oh.
A false signal was detected on April 8th, but it was determined to have originated from a high-flying aircraft. So Project Ozma has kind of been deemed to be unsuccessful because they didn't find anything, but it's science, so it's not unsuccessful.
Right.
They just didn't find anything, which is a finding because it's science. So that's Project Ozma. Now we're going to talk about the breakthrough initiatives. Buckle the fuck up, because this is like a chunk of time and fairly recent, like 2015. This is still ongoing. The breakthrough initiatives were announced to the public on the 20th of July in 2015 at London's Royal Society by physicist Stephen Hawking. A Russian tycoon named Yuri Milner created the initiatives to search for intelligent extraterrestrial life in the universe and consider a plan for possibly transmitting messages out into space.
Okay.
The announcement included an open letter co-signed by multiple scientists, including Hawking, expressing support for an intensified search for alien radio communications. During the public launch, Stephen Hawking said, "In an infinite universe, there must be other life. There is no bigger question. It is time to commit to finding the answer." The U.S. $100 million cash infusion is projected to mark up the pace of SETI research over the early 2000s rate and will nearly double the rate NASA was spending on SETI research annually in approximately 1973 to 1993.
Wow.
So they're way crazy funding this
Yep.
because we want answers.
Because people are excited.
People are excited. So there are 5 breakthrough initiatives.
Okay.
We're going to go in kind of order from... We're ending with the one that we're going to care about the most because it's similar to all of these other listening kind of experiments. So we have Breakthrough Message, which is a program to study the ethics of potentially sending messages into deep space.
Okay.
So we're asking questions about, like, is that a good idea? What should we include? Like, the Voyager thing was a very, like, hopeful project, and now we're kind of like...
Now we're like, was that a good idea?
Was that a good idea? So...
I like that.
It also launched an open competition with a $1 million prize pool to design a digital message that could be transmitted from Earth to an extraterrestrial civilization. I do not know if that prize is still on the table for best alien message, because I will just do exactly what they said in LEO, ending with "Bye, I love you."
Okay, bye, I love you.
Okay, bye, I love you. The message should be representative of humanity and planet Earth, which is so vague. The program pledges to not transmit any message until there has been a global debate at high levels of science and politics on the risks and rewards of contacting other advanced civilizations.
Great. So it's not happening.
Yeah. It will never happen through Breakthrough Message.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have Breakthrough Starshot, which I'm not going to go into super duper detail about. I'm going to, because it's got a lot of science words in it. I'm going to super vaguely talk about it. It is the project... It's a $100 million program to develop a proof of concept light sail spacecraft fleet capable of making the journey to Alpha Centauri at 20% the speed of light, taking about 20 years to get there and about 4 years to notify Earth of a successful arrival. So it's basically the plan of making a little fleet of space drones to go to Alpha Centauri and get information from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we're talking about. Breakthrough Starshot. If you want more information, there's a ton of information online. We're talking about, like, astronomical units and gigawatts and etc. No. So that's Breakthrough Starshot. Then we have
Now I feel like I need to rewatch like The Big Bang Theory and see if any of this made it in late episodes of The Big Bang
it's
Theory.
possible. Then we have Breakthrough Watch. Breakthrough Watch is a multi-million-dollar astronomical program to develop Earth and space-based technologies that can find Earth-like planets in our cosmic neighborhood and try to establish whether or not they host life. This is like looking with our eyes, not listening with our ears. The project aims to identify and characterize Earth-sized rocky planets around Alpha Centauri and other stars within 20 light years of Earth in search of oxygen and other biosignatures. So, like, specifically, we're looking at stuff.
Who's in your hood?
Question.
Yeah.
I
I maybe have an answer.
This could be this might not be something that you have an answer for.
Great.
Are they looking specifically for other carbon-based life forms?
I
Or
don't
are
know.
they considering
They're looking for life.
right?
That's it.
Right. But so the the suggestion to me of they're looking specifically for oxygen to me indicates they're looking for carbon-based life forms.
Probably.
Which maybe carbon-based life forms are the only possible chemical
Right.
construction of a living thing.
Right. Unless you believe the movie Evolution or several episodes of Star Trek where there have been silicon-based life forms.
Right. Like there could be other things that we don't know about. There could be chemicals that we don't know.
Yeah.
In a universe that is infinite,
Right.
how can we know every chemical?
Correct.
So
We can't.
right. So I think it would be interesting to see if they have other metrics that they're looking at.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay,
As of right now.
that's fair.
So then there is...
Hey, SETI,
Hey, SETI.
let
get
us
on
know.
that. Then there is this specific name, my brain hates because it is in one of the Percy Jackson books, and he calls him Enchiladas. It's Enceladus, but my brain keeps reading it as Enchiladas.
Enchiladas.
Because it's because of Percy Jackson. So it's Breakthrough Enceladus, which is an astrobiology space probe mission to explore the possibility of life on Saturn's moon, Enceladus. In September of 2018, NASA signed a collaboration agreement with Breakthrough to jointly create the mission concept. So this is still very new. This mission would be the first privately funded deep space mission, and it would study the content of the plumes ejecting from Enceladus's warm ocean through its southern ice crust. This ice crust is thought to be around 2 to 5 kilometers thick, and a probe could use an ice-penetrating radar to constrain its structure.
Yeah.
So we're trying to learn more about this moon through Breakthrough Enceladus. And now, lastly, we have Breakthrough. Wouldn't you believe it? Listen. This is the one that uses radio telescopes.
Hell yeah.
Which is kind of what we're focusing on here. I did mostly like sound-based stuff because
Wow.
it could have been so much. So this project aims to discover signs of extraterrestrial civilization by searching stars and galaxies for radio signals and laser transmissions, specifically. The search for radio signals is carried out by the Green Bank Telescope in the Northern Hemisphere and the Parkes Telescope in the Southern Hemisphere. So we got a telescope in both hemispheres. The Green Bank Telescope is the world's largest steerable radio telescope, and the
Vroom,
Parkes
vroom.
Telescope is the second largest radio telescope in the Southern Hemisphere. So these are both big fucking telescopes. Together, the radio telescopes will cover 10 times more sky than previous searches and scan the entire 1 to 10 gigahertz range, the so-called quiet zone in the spectrum, where radio waves are unobscured by cosmic sources or Earth's atmosphere. So that's going to be specifically man-made or life-made radio signatures.
Intentionally made signatures.
Correct. The radio telescopes are sensitive enough to detect Earth leakage levels of radio transmission from stars within 5 parsecs and can detect a transmitter of the same power as a common aircraft radar from the 1,000 nearest stars.
Wow.
So we looking at these planets and these stars. The Green Bank Telescope began its operation in 2016 in January, and the Parkes Telescope began in October of 2016. The Fast Radio Telescope in China joined in the forces also in October of 2016 with the breakthrough initiatives. So we've got an additional one adding more data to the pile. We've also are searching for optical laser transmissions, which is carried out by the Automated Planet Finder of Lick Observatory. That telescope has the sensitivity to detect a 100-watt laser from a star 25 trillion miles, which is 4.25 light years away.
Wow.
100 watts?
100-watt laser from a star 25 trillion miles away.
That's not like a lot.
That's the point.
'Kay.
It can detect an itty-bitty laser from that far away.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I would hate to be the data analyst.
Right?
For
Well,
the-
they've got, like, a ton of fucking people working on it.
I know, but like, you know what I mean? Like, my brain, I'd go home and be like, nobody show me a screen.
Yeah. I don't want to look at anything. Give me a book and make it a children's book. This project is the most comprehensive search for alien communications to date. It is estimated that this project will generate as much data in one day as previous SETI projects generated in 1 year.
Wow.
Compared to the previous programs, the radio surveys cover 10 times more of the sky, at least 5 times more of the radio spectrum, and work 100 times faster.
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, but it is mind
It's crazy.
boggling.
As of April 2016, the targets for the radio research with the Green Bank Telescope in the Northern Hemisphere include the following. So these are the targets. These are what we're pointing at.
Right.
All 43 stars within 5 parsecs of where we are right now. So we've got all the closest stars that we can get to. We got them. We're pointing this thing at them. 1,000 stars of all spectral types within 163 light years. Wow. 1 million nearby stars. Jeez. Which apparently the 1,000 that are within 163 light years, that's closer than just nearby, because 1 million nearby stars are being scanned.
So that's like, those are the thousands, whatever.
Are like close.
Those are like the stars that are on our street.
No. The 43 stars within 5 parsecs are the ones within our street. The 1,000 are the ones in our neighborhood. The 1 million are in our city.
Got it.
Because then we've got the center regions of at least 100 nearby galaxies, including spiral galaxies, elliptical galaxies, dwarf galaxies, and irregular galaxies. We're
looking at other galaxies?
100 of them.
What the fuck?
20 white dwarfs, 20 neutron stars, and 20 black holes are being targeted by this telescope.
Crazy.
The Parkes radio telescope will cover similar targets from the southern hemisphere. So that's just from the northern hemisphere of the planet. We're looking that way, and that's it. From the southern hemisphere, we're looking that way, and that's it. And we're still getting millions of stars. And that's why I said this was going to hurt a little bit.
My brain hurts. Mom, my brain hurts.
Zoe. We're going to skip through a little bit of it.
On a map of our galaxy, our spiral galaxy,
Our Bard spiral galaxy.
we are on one of the outside arms, right?
We're on the, what was it, Sagittarius spire arm?
Fuck,
or whatever
I don't
that guy
know.
was freaking out about in the Mandela Effect episode.
Oh yeah.
I think Sagittarius
Orion.
sector sounds right.
In
all of his lack of punctuation.
I guess there could be stars in a different galaxy that are closer than the stars across the galaxy from us.
They're looking at the center of those galaxies too.
My brain, you didn't prepare me for a science class.
Sorry. Guess what? Let's talk about some results that Project Listen has gotten.
Okay.
So in April of 2017, the project released its first set of results covering the observances of 692 nearby stars. These observances included 11 events which passed the threshold for significance, but it was concluded that they were all consistent with radio frequency interference. But
Lame.
that's still pretty cool.
It's still neat.
The project has begun at lower frequencies, as these have a lower frequency range, which is easier to record and process, and plans eventually to observe in a wide range of frequencies. So we're going to do all kinds of shit. So on August 30th of 2017, Breakthrough Listen said it picked up a series of 15 radio bursts coming from a dwarf galaxy about 3 billion light years away. The researchers said the possibility of the source being extraterrestrial life cannot yet be ruled out.
Okay.
Which I'll take. They're scientists.
Yeah.
In December of 2017, Breakthrough Listen observed Oumuamua, which was the interstellar asteroid that was coming through that everyone was freaking out about. They scanned it for any radio emissions at all, over 8 hours of observing it over a wide range of frequencies, and there were no emissions detected. So, interstellar object came from outside of our solar system, didn't have any radio on it, though. So, probably not a ship being piloted. Probably just a weird piece of space
Probably just a rock.
debris. Yeah. December of 2018, a search for laser light emissions from Boyajian's star was carried out using the automated planet finder, which is sensitive enough to detect a 24 megawatt laser at this distance, so even littler. Yeah. Although a number of candidates were identified, further analysis showed that they were coming from the Earth and not from the star. So we were having some bounce back issues. But they can determine that. So good for them. January of 2020, a preliminary result for the nearby, less than 150 parsecs away stars were announced with no positive detections of artificial transmitters comparable to the terrestrial stuff that we have going on. So it's okay. We're still scanning. And that other thing that they heard in 2017 has not yet been determined to not be extraterrestrial
Even
radio
now?
signal. Even now.
Ooh.
It still has not been disproved.
Excellent.
That one signal, they're like, I don't know what that was.
It's like, it could have been. It might not have been, but like, we can't say no.
Yeah.
We don't have something that proves otherwise.
Itchy. In May of 2022, Breakthrough Listen conducted the first targeted search for the WOW signal. It was its first collaboration between the Green Bank. Now it's me that's having problems talking.
Yep.
The Green Bank Telescope and the SETI Institute's Allen Telescope Array. The observations lasted an hour from Green Bank and 35 minutes from the Allen Telescope Array, 10 minutes of which were simultaneous. So they had an overlap of 10 minutes. No technosignature candidates were found. So they didn't find anything to cover the WOW signal. So that is the breakthrough initiatives. They didn't find anything they didn't refine the WOW signal.
Okay,
That's
got
what
it.
that means. They were looking for that signal coming from the direction where the signal came from. And they were not able to replicate it. Now, we're going to talk about the WOW signal.
Hell
It's
yeah.
finally time.
It's time.
But first we have to talk about the Ohio State University Radio Observatory,
okay.
because that's where this came from.
Okay.
The Ohio State University Radio Observatory was a Krauss type, named after its inventor, John D. Krauss, radio telescope located on the grounds of the Perkins Observatory at Ohio Wesleyan University in Delaware, Ohio, from 1963 to 1998. Known as Big Ear, the observatory was part of Ohio State University's Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence project. That's a thing they had at that university.
Excellent.
The telescope was designed by John D. Krauss, and construction began in 1956 and was completed in 61, and it was turned on for the first time in 63. So, the main reflector of Big Ear, the flat reflector, measured approximately 103 meters by 33 meters, giving it the sensitivity equivalent to a circular dish measuring nearly 53 meters in diameter. So, big ol' flat reflector. Oh my God, my nose. I'm sorry. The observatory completed the Ohio Sky Survey in 1971, and from 1973 to 1995, Big Ear was used to search for extraterrestrial radio signals, making it the longest-running SETI project in history. In 1977, the Big Ear received the WOW signal, which we'll talk about. It's got its own whole section, but we got to talk about Big Ear first.
Okay.
The observatory was disassembled in 1998 when developers purchased the site from the university and used the land to expand a nearby golf course. Boo. Put my telescope back. The Big Ear was listed in 1995 Guinness Book of World Records under the category of longest extraterrestrial search.
Cute.
It was the longest-running full-scale SETI project, and it still holds that right now because it was going for 22 years. Now,
Yeah, it ended when I was
technically-
born.
Technically, could we say that Voyager is the longest-running SETI project because we launched that in 77 and it's still out there, still going?
Yeah.
Technically, we could, but it's not actively doing anything.
Yeah, no, it's
It's
like,
not sending us anything.
It's a
passive.
Yeah. So
Passive programming, not active programming.
now it's time, my friends.
Tell me about the WOW.
The
signal.
WOW signal.
Wow, 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 wow.
So the WOW signal was a strong narrowband radio signal detected on August 15th, 1977, the same year that we launched the Voyager rockets, by Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope, which was then used to support the research for SETI. The signal appeared to come from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius and bore expected hallmarks of extraterrestrial origin. So, like, all the shit that we were looking for at this time in regards to extraterrestrial communication, this had. Astronomer Jerry Eman discovered the anomaly a few days later when he was reviewing the recorded data. On the computer printout, he circled the reading of the signal's intensity 6EQUJ5 and wrote the comment "Wow!" beside it, leading to the event's widely used name. If you see, we'll post a picture of it, of the readout on the Instagram. We'll post a picture of the telescope. We'll post a picture of Voyager. We'll post a picture of a bunch of stuff. But we'll post a picture of the WOW signal. It's a very loopy W. If you see one with a pointy W, it's fake. Just so you know. This guy has a very loopy, like, cursive W. The entire signal sequence lasted for the full 72-second window during which Big Ear was able to observe it, but has not been detected since, despite many subsequent attempts by this astronomer and others. Several hypotheses have been advanced on the origin of this admission, including natural and human-made resources or sources. We'll talk about them in a second. We're going to talk a little bit more about the signal itself first. This gets really science-y. I'm going to skip some of it.
Okay.
Because it's like to the a millionth place megahertz decimals. Like, we're not going into that. So the intensity of the signal. The signal was measured. Nope,
Bless you.
I skipped a whole section. I'm an idiot. Measuring this signal. The string 6EQUJ5, commonly misinterpreted as a message encoded in the radio signal, represents the signal's intensity variation over time. So that it's a specific measuring system adopted for this experiment. Each of those numbers and letters represent something specific in this system. What it represents? A lot of science stuff. We'll talk about it in a minute. The signal itself appeared to be an unmodulated continuous wave, although any modulation with a period of less than 10 seconds or longer than 72 seconds wouldn't have been detectable. So if it was like little modulations or giant modulations, we wouldn't notice it. So the signal's intensity was measured as a signal-to-noise ratio with the noise or baseline averaged over the previous few minutes. So meaning like any noise that it was already picking up versus this signal. The signal was sampled for 10 seconds and then processed by the computer, which took 2 seconds. The results for each frequency channel was output on the printout as a signal alphanumerical character representing that 10-second average intensity minus the baseline. Lots of math involved. But it's that alphanumeric character, right? In this particular scale, a space character denoted as an intensity between 0 and 1, that is between baseline and 1 standard deviation above it. The numbers 1 to 9 denoted the corresponding numbered intensities, 1 to 9. So this starts with a 6, pretty intense.
Yeah.
The intensity of 10 and above were indicated by the letter A, et cetera, et cetera. So again, ours is 6, E, Q, U, J, 5.
So
It went
bell curve.
Yeah. So it had an intensity. It went up. It went back down. Clearly, this is a noise that is doing something. So there's a lot more other things of like the bandwidth and the time variation and the frequency. It's a lot of numbers. We're not going to talk about the numbers that much. We're going to talk about where in space we think this might be coming from.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the precise location is uncertain due to the way that the Big Ear Telescope listened. It had 2 feed horns that were each receiving a beam from slightly different directions, and it was following Earth's rotation. And this data wasn't analyzed until 2 days after the fact of this actual thing being recorded. So it was also impossible to perceive which of the 2 beams received this signal. So it's possible that it was maybe over here and maybe over there. We know that it is probably in the Sagittarius constellation.
Okay.
But initially, no nearby sun-like stars were known to lie within those coordinates. But we have recently, in 2022, found that there are 3 sun-like stars within that area. So it's entirely possible that this signal came from a planet coming from one of those solar systems.
Okay.
But when follow-up tests were done, intentionally targeting that area in Breakthrough Listen, they were like, oh, we have discovered these 3 suns in that area where we think this came from. Let's specifically study that area. They didn't find any technosignatures. So we have not been able to replicate this signal.
Okay.
Unfortunately. So it could be that another planet was sending out their Voyager.
Yeah.
And they sent it out once. And nobody answered. So they're not doing it again.
Yeah.
We sent out Voyager, and then we were like, was that a good idea? Should we stop?
Do we do it again?
And then we did stop.
Yeah.
Hypotheses of what this could be. a lot of people think that it is basically like atmospheric twinkling of something happening interstellarly in that direction. But that doesn't exclude the possibility of it being artificial in origin.
Yeah.
It would explain why we can't find it again. If it was like, oh, we only found it because of like weird radiation stuff that was letting it come through. Other hypotheses include like a rotating lighthouse-like source, so it sweeping past and it just hasn't come back around, or a one-time burst of some kind of radiation. Eamon in 1994, so many years after the fact, after he found the signal, he said, "We should have seen it again when we looked for it 50 times. Something suggests it was an Earth source signal that simply got reflected off of a piece of space debris." He later somewhat recanted his skepticism after further research showed the unrealistic requirements that a spaceborne reflector would need to have to produce the observed signal. So basically, he was like, it was probably something of ours that just got reflected off of a satellite back towards us. And then more research was done, and it was like, the thing that it was reflected off of would have needed to intentionally be put there to reflect it to us for that to be the case. In a 2010 study, they documented several instances of terrestrial sources either interfering from adjacent frequency bands or illegally transmitting within this spectrum that is like a forbidden spectrum that is like, don't transmit here, we're trying to find space stuff. In a 1997 paper, Eamon resists drawing vast conclusions from half-vast data, where he's basically saying, like, we don't have enough data to determine what this is.
Yeah.
But then in a 2019 interview, he said, "I'm convinced that the WOW signal certainly has the potential of being the first signal from extraterrestrial intelligence." So then, where did I put?
It was the Starship Enterprise.
It was the Starship Enterprise traveling from the past.
They went, oh, fuck.
Oops.
They haven't had first contact yet.
Oopies. In one of these paragraphs.
Noping out.
In one of these paragraphs, I included in parentheses what this is short for, and now I can't find it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well, I can't find what this organization is, but it's another extraterrestrial research organization. The president of that organization, Douglas Vaycock, told Die Welt that any putative SETI signal detections must be replicated for confirmation, and the lack of such replication for the WOW signal means it has little credibility. In August of 2024, so just last year, the Planetary Habitability Laboratory published a preprint reporting observations made in 2020 at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, where they conclude that the WOW signal was likely caused by a rare astrophysical event in which stellar emissions energizing a cold hydrogen cloud caused it to suddenly surge in brightness. So basically, fancy radiation. There's a discredited hypothesis that happened in 2017 that basically a hydrogen cloud surrounding two comets, now known to have been in the same region of the sky, could have been the source of the WOW signal, but it was dismissed by astronomers, including members of the original research team, as the sighted comets were not in the beam at the correct time, and the comets did not emit strongly at the frequencies involved. So it's like this other hydrogen theory is better because of a bunch of the other weird stuff that was going on, but this one was like, there are comets that have hydrogen. It was probably that, and it's like they weren't anywhere nearby. So, that is what I have for the WOW signal, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI Institute, all the other shit that we talked about. What'd you learn?
I learned so much. That was fascinating.
I'm sorry it was so sciencey, but there was no way for it to not be.
No, that was excellent. I really enjoyed that. And it makes me want to figure out what the like SETI at home is, so that like, I don't know, it'd be fun to like sit and help on a project. It'd be a fun thing to do.
For people, if you want to look it up, it's SETI @home, all smooshed together.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. It was very, very good.
There's so many science words. I'm
That's
so sorry.
okay. No, I think it's good for us to be like, because we do operate in the woo-woo so often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's nice to be validated and be like, no, there is science.
there
There's-
is-
NASA's
there's-
involved.
NASA is
There's
involved.
weird shit.
Like, there are people. Like, as much as we talk about what we do being a pseudoscience, like there is real science that is involved in everything that it is that we do from a pseudoscience perspective. And no, we may not be the most sciencey people in the whole wide world, but we were also raised in a very science forward era.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know, we were the end of the space race. We were the middle ground of the push to STEM, and especially, you know, women in STEM and women in higher science fields. Like, we were in the push for that in education, and we still are. Like, there's still a lot of the push for that. You know, to the point where we've almost we're having to rebalance to bring the arts back in. Like, right, we're going from STEM to STEAM because we lost the A and how important the A is to the rest of the letters, right?
Right.
You can't do the STEM without the STEAM, right? Like, you can't. There's not one without the other. I will make my little caveat. The first time I ever saw the WoW signal was they have it on display. They saved the piece of paper.
Yeah, the readout.
The readout is on display. I don't remember which museum. It was on an episode of Mysteries at the Museum. And the Jerry Eamon, the guy that did it, was the person that talked about it on the episode. So it wasn't like
that's cool.
the museum curator or anything like that.
Right.
It was him
They were
talking.
like, someone get Jerry.
It was him
Jerry.
talking about his discovery and
'Cause
like
it's-
everything about it.
It's recent enough.
He's still alive.
He's still with us.
Yeah. And I was waiting. The reason I looked at my phone real quick was to see which image they used, and obviously because it's the actual readout, it is the correct loopy W.
It's the loopy
But
W.
I panicked for a second. I was like, "Do they not?"
No, it's the real one. There's like a couple online that are people like recreating it, and they like do a pointy W. He's got that loopy.
He's got a
cursive
very
W.
pretty. He's got pretty handwriting.
Yeah, and it's in red pen.
It's in very red pen, so it stands out from the reading. And anyway,
There'll be a picture on the Instagram.
I think everything that you talked about was fantastic. I'm glad you ended up eating up this topic because I could not have done it justice the way that you did. I would have stuck to the WoW signal and just left it.
It was one of those things that I was like, oh, the WoW signal will be like a short and sweet topic. But then I was like looking at just the WoW signal. I was like, I don't know if this is long enough to be a topic. And then I was like, you know, we always, I don't know if you always start, but like me and Mackenzie both always start on Wikipedia as like as a jumping off point. And I was like, there's a lot of blue links on this page.
And I'll scroll to the bottom, and sometimes I'm like, okay, these links are not worth going to. Clearly, they've gleaned whatever information is important from these links into these paragraphs. But there's other times where I'm like,
there's more.
what are
there.
you?
Yeah, but and mine was even like, because you know, like in a Wikipedia article, other related Wikipedia articles will be blue, and I'm like, this first paragraph of the WoW signal has like 18 blue links, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll open all those, and then I was like, oh, this is bigger than I thought. This needs to be a different topic. So yeah,
That's okay. Research. That's how the good research is done, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, the little bit
you
of-
have a little topic, and then you go,
Oh fuck.
Bigger than
and I did text these guys and go, one of my topics has evolved dramatically and will be a vastly different topic than I intended. And I took you to science class, and I hope
And I
you
loved
learned
it.
something. I hope our listeners who are more interested in the sciencey side of this enjoyed this episode. It wasn't for you. It was because I was like, there's so much. And I love the WoW signal. It's one of the like first things that when I was like getting into UFO stuff, I was like, we got contact from outer space. And it's just fascinating to me that it happened the same year as the Voyager was launched. Like, what's that about? Was that an answer? Was it an answer?
Was it an answer?
Was it an answer? Did you answer us? Oh, I hit my microphone. Sorry. They didn't send Sandstorm by Darude though. So that's why they didn't answer. That's why they just sent like a weird a 72-second long
It's them
blop.
going
They said,
for 72 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's everything you need to know about SETI as
For
a
now.
concept. for now. If there's any updates to any of these projects, I'm going to keep an eye on them. I'm going to keep my finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
If there are any updates, I'll bring it to you. If you know of anything in this field, let us know. As always, go on all the places, hit all the buttons, comment,
Right.
rate, review, subscribe, all the things. Definitely leave us a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, hit like. It helps us. Don't hit dislike. We have one video that has a negative ratio because it has one dislike and no likes, which is insane to me. I don't know why who uses the dislike button on YouTube anymore.
It was me. I did it.
Anyway, do all of those things. If you comment, we'll reply eventually. We love you. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening.
This podcast is for weirdos.
Are you a weirdo?
Thursdays are for the phenomena.